The march is on to 20,000 subscribers here at the channel. Less than 300 to go. So if you have not subscribed, I invite you to go ahead and do so. And who knows, you might be the lucky one to push us across 20,000 subs. Today's Cleveland Browns report is sponsored by Hexclad. They have the #1 cookware in the game. Get the best pots and pans out there. Plus, you can get 10% off when you use our exclusive link, hexclad.com/chat, along with promo code chat. That's in the comments and the description of today's video. More from them later on. But now let's jump into the latest Cleveland Browns news and rumors. We've got some signings to talk about, some roster moves, and then we'll have an update on the DeAndre Hopkins side of things, because the beauty of being a Browns fan is the offseason's always going to have a lot going on. But first, some recent roster moves made by the Browns. They released offensive tackle Joe Haeg. Remember, they signed him like not even earlier than that early last season, and signed him to like a 2-3 year contract. He was on IR for much of last season, and ultimately they move on from him. They added 2 players, a wide receiver, Rashawn Henry, and a tight end, Hunter Thedford. So some background information on all 3 of these moves. The Browns saved $2 million against the cap by moving on from Joe Haeg. So some savings right there. I don't know if they're trying to clear room for potential signing or not, but they did quickly fill some vacant spots. They added a former UDFA out of Virginia, Rashawn Henry. He played with the Carolina Panthers initially, and then with the Atlanta Falcons. No regular season experience as far as I could find, just practice squad for both these guys. Hunter Thedford, he was a UDFA coming out of Utah. He has played with Denver, Detroit, and New England. These are 90-man roster spots who are bubble players at best to make the 53-man roster, more like bubble players to make the practice squad. So the Browns just adding some players to keep the drills moving along in training camp and minicamp, which gets underway tomorrow. So after the Joe Haeg release, the Browns are around $16-ish million in cap space. The cap submits, so it's never easy to predict an exact number, but you can kind of ballpark it right around there. So with the Browns having some money to spend, it makes you wonder, are they doing this to get DeAndre Hopkins, or is it all just a coincidence? Now, I can offer you some updates on the Hopkins side of things, and that's this from Ian Rappaport this morning. The Bills added Leonard Floyd. So Buffalo maybe out of the sweepstakes for DeAndre Hopkins after signing Leonard Floyd. They only had $1 million to spend before going in the red for the cap space. So I'm guessing they put a lot of money into a signing bonus, low cap hit, restructured some deals. I have not seen the contract details just yet, but they were 31st in cap space or 32nd a couple of days ago. So surely now they have probably removed themselves from adding DeAndre Hopkins if he is looking for a contract similar to Odell Beckham. Now, Jeremy Fowler had a very interesting note over the weekend from SportsCenter. I wanted to relay to you guys. I was told that basically minicamp is a soft deadline. Training camp in late July is more of a hard deadline. And so he's looking at the entire league. This is not a situation where he is only looking to play with certain quarterbacks or a short list. When is the Browns minicamp, you ask? It gets underway tomorrow from June 6th to the 8th. So if the soft deadline is just a soft deadline, it could get past June 6th or 8th. But if DeAndre Hopkins is committed to getting to his new team, as soon as possible so he can pick up the playbook and get the connection with the quarterback down, maybe he decides, you know what, I don't want to hold out. I don't want to see if I can get more money. My agent's going to get the best deal possible. And whatever contract that is, that's what we're going to roll with. Or he could look at this as his last opportunity to get some real, money in free agency. And he might wait until the end of July to see all the offers come through. Maybe see some teams get a little bit more desperate as we near the regular season. Now, before we get on to the rest of the DeAndre Hopkins side of things here, today's sponsor, Hexclad, has the best deal for the Dawg Pound, because it is time to stop putting your dirty dishes in the sink that are all burned at the bottom and you don't get any of the flavor from your food out of it. Today's sponsor, Hexclad, has revolutionized the cookware industry with a hybrid pan that gives you all the convenience and cleanup of nonstick, along with the versatility of your grandma's cast iron, and best of all, a lifetime warranty just in case you somehow invent a way to destroy them. Now, use promo code CHAT at hexclad.com/chat, and they're going to give you guys 10% off. Now, in my opinion, Hexclad checks every single box, right? When you're looking to get the best cookware, they are metal utensil safe, dishwasher safe, and also oven safe up to 500 degrees. Now, you do not have to take just my word for it. We've got an awesome celebrity chef you might have heard of, Gordon Ramsay, who says, if you don't use it, you're pretty much an idiot sandwich. Now, that is not his exact words, but these are. The sear I can get with these pans is incredible, with absolutely no stick. The temperature control is utter perfection, and the cleanup is effortless. I love using Hexclad at home. They are also the sexiest pans on the market, so score some points at home, stop ordering delivery food, stop racking up those bills, and start cooking like a big boy with Hexclad. Real cuisine isn't made in the microwave, it's cooked in a Hexclad. So for a limited time, you can get 10% off your first purchase from Hexclad when you use our link, hexclad.com/chat. That's HEXCLAD.com/chat. Promo code chat. And look at this awesome pan right here. You can get some stir fry going into it. Summer is here. It's a great time to start cooking outdoors and indoors. So use Hexclad for all of your cooking needs. We'll get all that information you need in the comments and the description of today's show. And we have some more updates on the DeAndre Hopkins side of things I want to talk about on today's show. Because Aaron Wilson, a Texans beat reporter, put out a very interesting tweet that I thought you guys should see in case you missed it over the weekend. Sources, potential DeAndre Hopkins-Deshaun Watson reunion in Cleveland regarded as a strong possibility, while a return to Houston with Texans is not expected. So ignore the Texans side of things. Let's talk about potential reunion time here, right? High school reunion now with Hopkins, or I guess college reunion with Hopkins and Watson. Now, this is what Aaron Wilson included in his article. They could have a potential reunion with the Cleveland Browns with strong mutual interest existing between the all-pro wide receiver, the former Texans quarterback, and the AFC North franchise, according to league sources. I think Aaron Wilson's a very, he's a good reporter. So if he's got good sources, I'm going to buy it. You know what's not a very good source or reporter? NFL Rumors, who put out several NFL teams reportedly are out on DeAndre Hopkins. The Cowboys, the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Giants. Now, NFL Rumors is a Twitter account that if it fits your narrative, great, you use it. If it doesn't fit your narrative, it's all made up, it's all completely fabricated, it's not real, it's not even close to being an actual rumor. In this case, it kind of does fit our narrative, so we're going to act like they are a good, trustworthy source, even though we know they are not. For me, I think it comes down to the price tag for the Browns, right? I think Cleveland would have interest in adding DeAndre Hopkins, but they're not interested in signing a blank check, right? I think they are interested up to a certain number. I don't know what that number is. I really don't. I don't think anyone has a good idea other than Andrew Berry and those high up in Berea. So with that being said, if we had to, look as a potential framework for a contract, we've heard that DeAndre Hopkins is looking for something similar to what Odell Beckham Jr. got. Now, something I want to point out from OBJ's contract. Look at the bottom line. 2023 cap hit, just $3.9 million. So even though the Browns don't have $20 to $30 million in cap space, right now they sit around $16-ish million after releasing Joe Haeg. They're not going to have all $16 million be devoted to the cap space, right? They can put a lot of it in signing bonus. They can slap a void year on like Baltimore did, and poof, you've got a pretty low cap hit for this year. So don't look at $15 million in cap space. Oh, the Browns will have no money after signing DeAndre Hopkins. That is not how it works. The cap's a myth, but it's also real, and you can lower the cap hit with signing bonus and void years. So if I had to take a swing at what a projected contract could look like for D-Hop, I think he could fetch a 2-year deal. I saw Jack Duffin include that in one of his predictions, and I think Hopkins could command a 2-year deal where maybe a team can get out of it after one season, right? $30 million total. That's $15 million a season, just like Odell Beckham Jr., 20 of it guaranteed, so maybe a kind of front-loaded deal with 15 of that $20 million coming in the first season or something like that. I'm not sure. But regardless, this could be a rough idea of what a contract looks like. So with that being said, be the GM for me right now. And let me know if you would give out this contract to DeAndre Hopkins. 2 years, $30 million. I know that the salary cap is always tough, to really solve and figure out. It's the ultimate Rubik's Cube in sports. But take your best swing at it. Would you do this deal if you were the Browns? It's hard to pass on denying the opportunity to reunite Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins, who were so prolific together in Houston. But I do want to verbalize, if you add DeAndre Hopkins, I just don't see a role for Donovan Peoples-Jones in this offense. And if the Browns like DPJ long-term, right, if they see themselves re-signing him after this season, and they think he can be a 1,000-yard receiver for the next 4 or 5 seasons or whatever, I could see them deciding to pass on the sexy move right now, but long-term, DPJ's got 6 years on DeAndre Hopkins. He might be a better play for the future if they think DPJ is going to be a star wide receiver and much more affordable than DeAndre Hopkins. Because Donovan Peoples-Jones has only gotten better throughout his NFL career. Started off as a rookie, 6th-round pick, 300 yards. Okay, no big deal. But look at the climb year after year. And last season, 839 yards. I think if you polled your average NFL fan and said, how many yards did Donovan Peoples-Jones have last year? No one's coming close to him being just over 150 yards away from being a 1,000-yard receiver. Now, the issue is, I don't know if the Browns are going to have any money to spend next offseason on DPJ. Let's say under Deshaun Watson, he breaks out. He's a 1,000-yard receiver, 8 touchdowns. The Browns are, not a typo right there, negative $85 million in cap space. Now, I don't say this to panic or alarm you guys. They could always push money down the road. The cap goes up, so the percentage hit is way different in 2024 than in 2027 if you kick money down the line. But at negative $85 million means you're not going to be able to sign or re-sign everyone you desire. Now, the cap hits for 2024, you're not moving on from Watson. You're not moving on from Garrett. You're not moving on from Denzel Ward. At least I don't think you are. Cooper, you could move on from, and that would save a good chunk of change. I don't think you move on from Joel Bitonio, but if he were to somehow regress this season, a $19 million cap hit would be a pretty big number staring at you in the face, and we know that interior offensive linemen tend to be easier to replace than other spots on their roster. So with that in mind, if the Browns have already decided one way or another that they are losing DPJ, right? If he has a breakout season this year under Deshaun Watson, they're so far right in the red in cap space, they won't be able to be competitive in free agency and match an offer another team gives him, right? Or if DPJ kind of stinks this upcoming year, let's say Elijah Moore and Cedric Tillman take off, I don't know, doesn't matter. But it kind of makes up the Browns, makes the Browns' choice or decision easier for them because they're already so far in the red. They're like, we're not going to spend money in free agency on a guy who took a step back this year while Elijah Moore and Cedric Tillman took a step forward. So if you've already decided that this is the last year for DPJ in Cleveland, I'm talking to Andrew Berry right now, I think you probably do go for DeAndre Hopkins, right? I understand not wanting to have Hopkins come in and that means you lose DPJ, but if you've already made up your mind that this is DPJ's last year in Cleveland, yeah, why wouldn't you want to reunite DeAndre Hopkins and Deshaun Watson, who in their last year together connected for 1,165 yards and 7 touchdowns? Like if DeAndre Hopkins was playing his entire career with the Browns, he would be the greatest Browns receiver of all time, and it wouldn't even be close statistically. To recreate the magic he had with Watson, for Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry, who are in a make-or-break season, and it is all on the line for 2023, don't rule out them going, let's go deeper into the bag and let's toss more chips into the middle of the table. So pick a wide receiver for me. DeAndre Hopkins or Donovan Peoples-Jones. Who would you rather have right now? If you're going to go DPJ, I somewhat applaud you because it's not an easy thing to say right now over an all-pro receiver like Hopkins. But if you think DPJ is on a great rise and he's going to be a fantastic receiver who might not be as good as Hopkins, but value-wise, contract-wise, could be toe-for-toe, pound-for-pound with him, then I can see why someone would make the argument. But for me, if you're already moving on from D-Hop after this season, maybe you do swing for the fences a little bit more and get Watson his favorite wide receiver. Before we get on out of here, 2 quick things. One, How about the cowards in Cincinnati? The Bengals tweeted out the dumbest thing yesterday. It was a video from the Browns-Bengals game on Halloween when Cleveland curb stomped Cincinnati, and Cincinnati decided, you know what? Let's share one of our our only touchdown from that game, I think. Anyway, a T. Higgins touchdown in the fourth quarter of a blowout, and go, to ease your off-season blues, here's a highlight from a game we got shit pumped in. Surely that's not going to go poorly on Twitter. And like 45 minutes later, they deleted it. So shout out to the cowards in Cincinnati who can't even stand by their own tweets. It is off-season mode. Pick a card time before we get on out of here. Now, we've had 14 cards picked so far. We got some good data, and I wanted to share those numbers with you guys. The suit that's been drawn the most, spades, 6 times. Diamond 6 times. Diamond 6 times. The least is spades. The card that's been picked the most, number 4 across the board, across all suits, has been picked 4 times. No other card has been picked more than twice. All right, producer Matthew McCullough, which card are you going with?
Let me get the 9 of diamonds.
9 of diamonds. All right, 9 of diamonds has not been picked yet. I'm going to go, we have not had a club since May 25th. Give me 3 of clubs. 3 of clubs. All right, one last cut. We're wrong. Jack of spades. Jack of spades. That is a first time for the Jack of spades. All right, we're going to sign off. We will see everyone later. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a good day.